Now, award-winning photographer Dustin Sparks once said, "Photography is the story I fail to put into words." Nigerian photographer Deinte Dan-Princewill has just released a book which tells tales with both images and words in her creation, The Beauty of Lagos. Deinte Dan-Princewill, author of the book, The Beauty of Lagos, joins us now. It's a pleasure to have you join us on Newsday. Okay, I hope you can hear me. Okay, good to see you. You're welcome.
Good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Oh, great to have you. Okay, I was just reading about your book, and it says here, it celebrates the nature and essence of Lagos, which strengthens, unifies, and amplifies the culture of its people. The Beauty of Lagos showcases the uniqueness of Lagos, its people, its product, and its businesses. So I was wondering, what is the objective of these chronicles? Is it to unite us behind a common appreciation of Lagos?
Definitely. I think it's very important to have perspective. There's different ways to look at things. So it's important to focus on the good, focus on the positive, the beautiful sides, the serene sides of Lagos. So the coffee table book mostly focuses on that, the beautiful side of Lagos. So I wanted people to make sure they can focus on that.
Oh, all right. Deinte, let me ask you, what provoked this? How did you arrive at wanting to do the book, The Beauty of Lagos?
I think there's a gap in the media on what's currently being shown. When I moved back to Lagos, I felt like a lot of people were constantly showcasing, the traffic, there's a lot of, just a lot of activity. Lagos typically is very, there's a lot going on. So I wanted to make sure people also know that there's two sides to it. There's two sides to the story. There's definitely peaceful sides. There is the beach, there's calmness, there's other things that, Lagos has to offer, even for our tourists. So that was the main focus, just to showcase other sides of Lagos that people don't typically see in the media. So.
Well, you spoke to Defemi Akinsoye a couple of days ago at the launch of the book, and you told her this took 3 years to bring together. And I'm wondering, it's a book of images put together. Why did it take you 3 years? What were the challenges?
So I would say it's a combination of things. So I'm actually an architect, so I do a lot of renovation works and creating new buildings since I've been here as well. But the coffee table book was important to me that I wanted to make sure that there was different sides shown in it. And so since 2018, that's when I started taking photographs. Then I started adding other elements to it. So in terms of having conversations with people, and that I think was a bit more of a process where it took a bit more time to get good quotes and good verses from people. And to be fair, the 3 years actually includes last year, which was COVID. So I wasn't really technically taking photos during that year, but it's mostly conversations and pictures. And then obviously to put a book together is it's not the easiest thing. So making sure that things actually connect, making sure the photos match with each other, making sure the quotes work together, and generally putting it together. So a lot of graphics involved as well. So that was the last few months. So yeah, it was a long process, but I think it was worth it in the end of the day.
Yes, it looks like it was. Just again, taking from what you said about yourself, which you started to tell us, it says you're a passionate, multi-talented architect, designer, entrepreneur, and self-proclaimed life enthusiast. So how would you say your exposure and your specialism equipped you to take on this job? I guess you could be termed a pictorial historian.
Yes, definitely. I think being trained as an architect, a lot of it focuses on details. So I think it wasn't so much, we might go into the same place, the same location, but I think I have an eye in terms of looking at things from a different perspective. So I think it was important to me to continuously use these skills that I had developed over the years. So that I would say is the main thing I brought to the table. Just generally always focusing on unique perspectives. So there's always two sides to everything. So I wanted to make sure that I focused on that.
Absolutely correct. There are two sides to everything. Deinte, you said you're an architect.
Yes, I am.
You now did photography and you have authored the book. What's your first love?
Sorry, what did you say?
What's your first love? You're an architect, you've authored a book, you do photography. What's your first love?
I would say from I have the youngest I've ever been. I mean, I've always been obsessed with design. I'm a lover of just creative things. I love using my hands. I love just creating new, regardless of what it is. So for me, architecture was a way of a professional degree that actually showcased what I can do in terms of creating something great to impact the world. Of course, there's smaller aspects where it's like, okay, for me, photography, I think, is not just about what you see, it's about what you make others see. So I think that was something that I always try to bring into it. So if you say my first love, I would just say creating. It's just my passion for creativity, for bringing things and showcasing things that people don't necessarily see all the time.
Okay, so let me ask you two questions. First, for someone who doesn't live in Lagos, who hasn't seen Lagos, is this likely to change their perspective of what they've heard about Lagos? And then secondly, what next for you?
Oh, that's definitely the idea. I would hope that when people actually see the book, when they look through it, when they go through the pictures, the vibrant colors, the words, people's opinions on Lagos, they'll have a very a more broader idea of what Lagos is like. So not just the typical ones that we see with kekes and buses. So I feel like it's a very different perspective. So I would hope that people also use that as a reason to also visit. People use it as a reason to come back, even moving back. I have a few stories in there that I feel like are interesting for people abroad as well. So yes, I would say definitely that would be a different perspective. In terms of what people can expect from me, I feel like there's a lot to do. There's a lot that can come from this. The beauty of Lagos is not just showcased in just the places to go, highlighting places to see, but of course, beauty of Lagos is in its people as well. So I'm hoping that I can also have other editions that would showcase people. I mean, our fashion, our celebrations. There's a lot else that I think could come through.
Okay, it's clear you've had a relationship with Lagos for few years now. But did you make any fresh discoveries on this journey of putting this book together? And if you were to sum up for us in your own words, in a few words, what Lagos represents to you, what would those words be?
Yes, so since moving back, I think there's been a lot I've experienced since that I didn't actually have as a younger child. When I first grew up, to be honest, I think my parents did a great job in terms of we were always outside, we had different activities to do, we had a lot going on living in Lagos. And then, of course, I think later on it becomes as a teenager or as a young adult, you're focusing on, family, celebrations. Lagos that now becomes that. I think now in my more adult years, I think there's a lot Lagos has to offer. Apart from that as well, it's a unique perspective on life, So I think it's been an interesting blend of all three.
You must have conducted several interviews during your sojourn, trying to write this book. Which of the interviews would you say challenged you most or impacted you most? And among all the pictures that you went around taking, which one left, if you like, an indelible impression in your heart?
No, the conversations I think were my best parts. I think working with people and getting unique perspectives on things. So I would say I love the ones that were the most raw. So I think some people had just very real perspectives on how Lagos impacts them. So it's not just a one-sided thing where it just showcases, rainbows and unicorns, not really. But I think what I loved is people's passion. I think at the end of the day, Lagos is home for a lot of people, and people found ways to express that in different ways. So whether or not it's the drums or it's the noise and the traffic or the generator sounds, people found ways to make these things interesting and bring a different perspective on Lagos. Regarding the photographs, I would say for me, I'm originally a rivers girl, so I love being around water. I love being near the beach. So a lot of my best pictures, or my best images, I think showcase a rare form of serenity. So I love those. The ones where you're surrounded by just trees, by nature. I think those I would say are my favorite ones. But yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. The best. We wish you from there.